Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kaylee and this video is going to be all about our experience flying with TUI on our holiday, not last week, the week before. I have had lots and lots of questions from people who are either going on holiday later this year or who were just curious about what it was actually like because they've seen things in the news. And I just thought I would share our experience. I have just finished filming my meal plan video, hence same outfit, same background. I just thought I'd stay sat in my kitchen and just film a little chatty video. So we went on holiday the week before last, so that was the 29th of May, I believe we flew. And we flew from Manchester Airport to Turkey. So, oh, what's the name of the airport? I can't remember the name of the airport in Turkey, but the place we went to was Turunç, and it is maybe an hour from Marmaris. It was beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. We had such an amazing time, and I just want to say, before I say anything else, we were so lucky that we got our holiday, and I am completely aware of that. So obviously we may not have had the best travelling experience. I'll just put that in there now, it wasn't the best, but we got our holiday and so many people didn't. So I just want to say I am aware how grateful we are, but I have been asked to let you know what the experience was like, so I can only tell you from my point of view. And just so you know, it is a very lucky point of view because we ended up getting our holiday. So we went to the airport and it was a Sunday. We arrived at Manchester and we were kind of prepared for the fact that there was going to be big queues, things might be delayed a little bit. And when we arrived, there were very big queues to check in your baggage. Because our flight was after 12 o'clock, you couldn't check it in the day before. Whereas if your flight was before 12 o'clock, I believe that you can check your luggage in early at Manchester Airport at the moment, and then you just don't have to worry on the day because it's done and sorted. But ours was after that time. I think our flight was meant to be 4:45, and so we just had to check it in when we got there. The line was ridiculously long. It was halfway down the tunnel, like the connecting tunnel thing that you've seen on the news. However, it was moving pretty quickly, and I would say that it took us about an hour to get our baggage checked in. But the line was moving, the kids were excited, they coped really, really well, and we were still feeling pretty positive at that point. It just wasn't, it didn't feel that bad, but I did check my watch at the start and at the end, and it was about an hour that we were waiting. So once we'd got our bags checked in and we got through security didn't take that long. I'd left a lip balm in my bag that I'd forgotten about going through one of the things, so I had to have my bag properly searched. That took a little bit longer, but that was my bad, not the airport's. So anyway, we got through there, we got through security, and we ended up in the, what do you call it? In the airport, the bit where you wait and you mill about for a couple of hours before your flight. We went straight away to check the board to see if there was any updates on times of our flight, and on the board it just said delayed. It didn't have a time next to it, it just said delayed, and at that point we were feeling a little bit worried because if there was no time, we were thinking, does that mean it's going to end up being cancelled? We just weren't sure what to think. The airport was also really, really busy, so there weren't any seats that we could sit in, so we ended up sitting on the floor near the sign so that we could see any updates. The kids were quite happy. I'd patched them some little activity backpacks to take with them, and they were just excited looking at all the things that were in their backpacks. Yeah, they were really, really good. The one thing I have to say throughout this whole experience was the kids coped so well, and I'm really, really proud of them. So anyway, we're sat there, we're waiting. Obviously you can't take drinks through the airport because liquids and all that jazz. And I wish we'd taken empty water bottles, because there are places where you can get drinking water to fill up your drinking bottles, rather than having to buy bottles of water. But I stupidly didn't. And one thing, if you are traveling, I would say take a drinks bottle with you so that you can definitely get a drink whilst you're there. So we were waiting and waiting and waiting, and we thought, right, we should probably try and get some food or some snacks, because it was getting towards, like, we'd eaten at maybe 11, and I think by this point it was 3, half 3. So we thought we need to get some food so we're prepared for when the kids start whinging. However, when we went to check, none of the restaurants bar one were open. So there was one open and the queue for it was all the way round the top of the airport. So there was no way that, like, there was just no way that we were going to be queuing there with the kids again. We went and looked at the shops. Now there was WH Smith's, and that was pretty much it. There was like a couple of fast food places. There was a Costa and a Pret and things like that. The Costa was closed. The Pret had nothing in it. Like, I'm telling you, nothing, absolutely nothing. They were closing and there was just nothing. The WH Smith's, we went in to see if we could get a meal deal or something. There was nothing. Like, there was a few bottles of water, so we were able to get a couple of bottles of water. However, the shelves were bare. Other than big boxes of chocolates in duty free, you couldn't really buy food. So at this point we're still waiting and it still just says delayed, and the time went on and on and on, and it gets to like 7 o'clock. So we'd been there at this point for how many hours? Wait, so we got there about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it wasn't until about 7 o'clock, 7:30, that we got an update. So we'd already been in the airport for 6 hours and we couldn't get food or drink, and there was no updates. Now, thankfully I did pack some snacks in the kids' backpacks, but I didn't pack much because I thought we'd be able to buy food at the airport. So I would say, if you can, pack extra snacks if you are flying, because I don't know what happened. Everywhere was either sold out or closed. And that was my biggest complaint, I'll be honest. The waiting was, I mean, it's waiting, isn't it? But the worry of, I've got no food for my kids. I can't exactly go out and get some food and come back in the airport. You can't do that, can you? We didn't know when this flight was going to be taking off. We didn't know whether there was going to be any food on the plane or anything like that. So my biggest concern was, when am I going to be able to feed these kids something other than a large bar of chocolate if I get desperate? Anyway, eventually it came up on the board that our flight was scheduled for 8:30, 8:45, something like that. So we were like, oh, thank goodness, we're actually, like, we have a time. That's good. That's a good sign. The kids are starting to get hungry. They're starting to get restless. I'm trying to ration out the snacks in their backpacks so they don't get through everything, and just praying that there's going to be some food on the plane. So we wait and we wait and we wait, and eventually, like I say, about 8:30, it says that we can go to the gate. So we went to the gate and we sat there waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm sorry, these timings are probably a bit off. I can't remember. I think the flight ended up taking off at we were 4 hours, just over 4 hours delayed. So however that works out, but we went and waited at the gate for quite a while. The kids were extremely tired at this point, which, I mean, of course they were. It had been a long day of sitting around and waiting, but I was optimistic that at least they'd sleep on the plane then. Whilst we were at the gate, all we could hear over the tannoy thing was different flight numbers being called out and being told that they were cancelled. So just one after the other, different flight numbers were being called out saying this flight has been cancelled or postponed until tomorrow. Please, like, someone will come and let you know what to do. Nobody came and told them where to go. There were people that obviously needed accommodation for the night and things, and they were just sort of wandering around like, where do we go? Who do we speak to? Because there was just nobody there. The issue is 100% staffing. They are taking on more flights than they can accommodate staff-wise. The staff that are there are working their butts off. They are absolutely brilliant. It's nobody who is actually working in the airport's fault. They just need more people. So anyway, all of these flights are getting cancelled. And we're just sat there waiting to hear our flight number. But for some miracle, we then were taken through the gate, checked your boarding passes, checked your passports, and we got on the plane. At this point, I still didn't feel safe because there had been a lady that I'd spoken to in the airport, so not at the gate, in the airport, who said that they'd been on the plane. They'd sat on the plane and they'd had to get off the plane again. I can't even imagine how my kids would have felt if we'd had to do that. and I just feel so lucky that we got on our flight. So we were sat on the plane, and I still didn't want to feel safe until we were in the air. The kids were excited, they were exhausted, but they were excited. And yeah, we took off and we managed to get there, which was just an absolute miracle in my eyes. The staff on the plane were amazing. They were really chatty, really apologetic. They were very open about what the issues were, and that, you know, they were all pulling in the hours and they were all working as hard as they could to make things happen. They just didn't have enough people. And I 100% believe that. There was the pilot on his like welcome to the plane little chat announcement that he does, had basically said the same thing. They were very open about what the issue was, very apologetic, and just really professional and fantastic. So cannot fault them. It is it's the brand as a whole. It's just the travel business as a whole just booking things that they can't deliver. So anyway, we got there and that was fantastic. Straight through the airport. Went to get the transfer and they said our names weren't on anything, but eventually they found out which coach to put us on, and we had to get one coach and then get a little minibus to travel the rest of the way, because oh my goodness, the roads were so narrow up this really steep hill and it was terrifying. But those drivers were incredible. So we got there. The hotel was obviously expecting us the night before, so it was all a bit weird and there was sort of a lack of communication with that, but they were fantastic. They offered to take us straight round for breakfast, which was really, really lovely. And yeah, then we had an amazing holiday. So that was getting out there. We were delayed by 4 hours, just over 4 hours. Coming back, the Turkish airport, on point, absolutely brilliant. They were so organised, everything was so fast. All of the places you could eat were open. And it was just very professional, very well run, very organised, and it really, really highlighted how bad things have been at Manchester. And again, this is no disrespect to anyone working there, because they are working their butts off. Like, they could not be working any harder. It's comes from the top management-y issue, and I feel really bad for the people working in the airports at the minute. So we were in the Turkish airport, that was great. Got through security, you know, had your bags checked and scanned and all that jazz. But then before we got back on the plane, they did like full on one at a time searches. They searched everybody's bags. They went up and down everybody with the metal detector again. They were doing drug swabs on everybody. I don't know if this is a Turkish thing or whether it was just our flight, if it was a random one, or if they thought there was something dodgy happening. But obviously that took quite a while. The kids thought it was brilliant. They thought it was really exciting. So we got through that, and then we sat at the gate waiting. And we were there for quite a long time, all kind of penned in. And the issue was they were just waiting for the staff to be able to get the bags on the plane and to be able to fly the plane and do all that stuff. I don't know. But it was just, they were waiting for the staff to be available to come and sort that out. So I think we were delayed by 2 hours on the way back, which didn't really feel that bad. Obviously it's worse when you're coming home because you're tired, and we'd been in the pool all day. Well, it was a late flight, so we basically spent the day by the pool and then just sort of got showered off by the pool and went out. So we were feeling a little bit gross, just wanted to get home to our own beds. But yeah, when we got back to Manchester, oh no, the flight was absolutely brilliant. Again, the pilot apologised and basically just said it's due to staffing issues. All of the staff on the planes were amazing. All the staff we encountered at the airport were amazing. Apart from on the way out, there just weren't really any about. But everyone that we did encounter was fantastic. When we got back, it was pretty quick getting through passport control. That was great. And then we went round to wait for baggage, and I've never seen anything like it. The amount of suitcases that were just piled up like along the walls and in massive areas of this baggage collection space. There was just so many bags, and I don't know if they were people that had like abandoned them because they'd been waiting so long, whether that had been I just don't know. But I cannot even, I don't think I took a picture. If I did, I'll put it in here, but I don't think I did. There was just bags everywhere. which at an airport I always feel a bit weird about, because, you know, security and stuff, but there was just bags piled up everywhere. So we were like, right, okay, hopefully it's not going to take too long. It took about, I want to say an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours for our baggage to come out off the plane, which sucked. But, you know, it was fine. Trying to keep the kids entertained at that point. They were tired. We'd had to wake them up off the plane, but obviously they weren't ready to be. It was just one of those moments. It was absolutely worth it for the holiday that we got, but it was stressful, and yeah, we were getting to the point where we were thinking, shall me and the kids go home and Alistair stay and wait for the bags just so I can get the kids into bed? What do we do? But then thankfully by the time we started getting that desperate that we were thinking of plans like that, it started to come out. And again, it's just staff. They just don't have the staff to be able to do all the things. The staff that are there are working incredibly hard, but there's only so much you can do with so many people, isn't there? So that was our experience. 4-hour delay on the way out, 2-hour delay on the way back, and then an hour and a half, 2 hours to get our baggage. Would I fly again next week if you asked me to? No. Will I go on holiday again? Yeah, of course I will. It was its own little kind of traumatic, but also it was very, very worth it. And all I can say is the kids were amazing. I could not be prouder of my children and how they coped in such a stressful, tiring, boring situation. We did put in a claim for compensation, because if you are delayed more than 3 hours, you can get compensation from the airline. So we put in our claim, and because we were delayed by 4 hours, we put it in for all 4 of us. You put it in for every single passenger. And actually that was dealt with pretty quickly. We got notification after just a couple of days that our claim had been approved, and then it was in our bank account in like just over a week, something like that. So our experience of that was good. My sister went on holiday way before us, about a month before us, and she is having issues because they're trying to say it was weather related issues that delayed them rather than staffing, which isn't true. But, you know, so I don't know whether we're lucky with the compensation or whether she's very unlucky. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how it would usually go, but I just thought I would mention that because it might be relevant. So that was our experience. How long have I taken? Oh god, 17 minutes. Right, I need to go and let you go. But for anyone who was wondering about our experience flying with TUI, that was it. The worst part was obviously the restaurants and the shops being shut. They actually, oh, I never mentioned, on the way out, they gave us food vouchers. So when we'd been delayed a certain amount of time, so there were no TUI reps, but a lady behind a desk somewhere gave us food vouchers because we'd been waiting so long, but there was nowhere to buy food. So yeah, I just thought that was quite funny. There was food on the plane, very limited. We got like a tin of Pringles, and I think we managed to get some sort of panini or something to share between the 4 of us. But there was food, and the kids were asleep by that point anyway. Right, I'm gonna go. I'm sure there's loads of things I've forgotten because, yeah, that's long COVID brain for you. And I should have made notes, but I didn't. So if you've got any questions and anything that I've missed out, anything you're curious about, drop them in the comments. And share what your experiences have been like traveling recently too, because I am curious. Yeah, right, I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.